Hello, and thank you for joining us for the BPM Change Management PRR Monthly Review meeting. My name is Ryan Ayer, representing the Customer Readiness team here at the ISO, and I will be facilitating today's web conference. Today's call is being recorded. These recordings are for informational and convenience purposes only. Any related transcriptions should not be reprinted without the ISO's permission. As a reminder, these monthly calls are structured to stimulate an honest dialogue and engage different perspectives. While we welcome comments and questions, please remember to keep the comments professional and respectful. We will be taking questions throughout the call today. If you are dialed in by phone only and not on the WebEx, you can enter the question queue at any time by pressing #2 on your telephone keypad. If you're connected audio through the WebEx platform, please use the raise hand feature located above the chat box on the lower right-hand side of your screen. Please introduce yourself before asking your question. If you need technical assistance during the call today, please send a chat message to the event producer. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the proposed revision requests that are in the initial or recommendation stage of the process. Today we'll be discussing 15 PRRs, 11 are in the initial stage, 4 are in the recommendation stage, and all PRRs were submitted by the ISO. The purpose of BPMs is to set forth business practices that implement the ISO tariff. The ISO conducts a yearly policy initiative roadmap process to consider and rank initiatives. Policy changes submitted through the PRR process will be referred to the policy initiative roadmap process. Each subject area in a BPM is based on enabling language in the ISO tariff, and the PRR process cannot be used to introduce changes that are not supported by the existing tariff authority. The first BPM we are covering today is for Credit Management and Market Clearing, PRR 1554. This PRR is in the recommendation stage, and Christina Billing will be covering this slide. Christina, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Ryan, and good afternoon, everybody. This is PRR 1554, a minor revision to Section 6.2 of the BPM for Credit Management and Market Clearing as it relates to the EAL components. This revision was made simply just for a little bit of a language cleanup to be in alignment with the updated settlements timeline. There were no initial comments, and the recommendation comment period expired just a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, on April 16th, and the next step will be to post our final decision. Are there any questions from anyone on the line in regards to PRR 1554?
Okay, thank you, Christina. The next BPM that we'll be covering is for for Rules and Conduct Administration, PR number 1555, which is in the recommendation stage. Angelica will be speaking to this PRR, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Hi, Angelica. We are not able to hear you. You may be muted.
Thank you. PRR 1555 for the Rules of Conduct Enhancements Phase 1 are BPM changes that are in support of the tariff changes that went into effect April 1st related to the Rules of Conduct Enhancements Phase 1 effort, otherwise known as ROCE. We have not received any recommendation comments on our BPM changes. The comment period expired last week on the 16th, and our next step will be to post a final decision. Are there any questions on these BPM changes?
Okay, great. Thank you, Angelica. The next BPM that we are covering is for Market Instruments, PRR number 1558. Michael will be speaking on these PRRs. Michael, go ahead.
Good morning, it's Michael Martin in Operations. This is PRR 1558, a new OASIS report. It's labeled ATC for PWT. PWT stands for Priority Wheel Through. It's a report that shows progress of priority wheel through requests as part of our new TSMSP process. There's a forthcoming there's another PRR on that wheel through request process. This is the report on OASIS that shows again, the process and progress of those. We didn't get any initial comments back, and it's going to expire April 16th. Next step, post the recommendation.
All right. Any questions on PRR 1558 for Michael? And just a reminder, if you are dialed in by phone, you can press #2 on your telephone keypad or raise your hand in the WebEx. All right, the next BPMs that we are covering are for market operations, PR number 1556, 1557, 1567, and 1568. 2 are in the recommendation stage and 2 are in the initial stage. Michael, you have these as well.
Okay, starting with 1556, a clarification on hybrid dynamic limit submission requirements. These are clarifications for those folks that have resources, hydro, co-located resources that are converting to VER source. It's clarification on how you can utilize the cyber system for your limits within the first 90 days. So if that applies to you, this section is useful to look at. No recommendation comments and the same expiration date. At this point, we're going to post the final decision. For PRR 1557, these are 2 minor updates for multi-stage generators. You'll hear it called MSG generators. One is related to the use of the use limited setting. That setting has to be at the plant level instead of the configuration level. And the second change is, should an MSG resource submit in day ahead an outage, I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. Should they submit bids in the day ahead and then have an outage at the end of the day, say in a high non-shutdownable configuration, where the next day starts at, hour ending 1, the ISO and our system will assume you mean to shut down immediately. So again, if you submit bids on a non-shutdownable configuration and you're online, we'll assume that your outage means that you want to shut down. More details in the PRR specifically. Didn't receive any comments, and again, the same expiration date. Let's go to 1558. Oh, I'm sorry, 1567. This is updates to constraints related to the AS SOC project. This is part of our ESC project phase 2 implemented last November. This was actually part of this update was to correct a BPM posting error in section 4.2.9, and in the process of correcting the posting error, we clarified some language. So for those with battery and batteries that take AS, this section should be reviewed. Didn't receive any initial comments, same comment period expiration, and at this point, post the recommendation. Okay, and then lastly, PRR 1568, clarifying tagging requirements in support of the Resource Efficiency Evaluation Phase 2 project. You've heard of it, RSE Phase 2. This is an ongoing project, part of our fall release, and these changes clarify what sort of automatic tagging rules that we are looking to implement with this project, essentially based around for priority, low priority exports, imports that are tagged GFP that we require you to put in a miscellaneous field, the market priority type. There's also a change to the timing of the RUC auto adjustment to run that auto adjustment twice a day. We didn't receive any comments on this one either, and next step is to post a recommendation. Thank you.
Right. I think you might be on mute.
Apologies. Yes, I was on mute. So yes, the next set of BPMs that we are covering are for settlements and billing. And Massi, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Hello, everyone. My name is Massi Ahmadi, and I'm going to go over the 8 settlement PRRs for summer release. Let's start with 1559. This has to do with T. T stands for Transmission Exchange Agreement. This is an agreement between WAPA, PG&E, and CAISO, which is expiring soon, and it's being extended. This feature basically allows WAPA to sell their portion of their T contracts rights to the buyers. This has the implementation activation date of August 1st, and initial comment expired April 16th. Next step is post recommendation. Any questions on T contract? Okay, next one is TSMSP 2. This is our second project. So in this summer release, we have, as I mentioned before, 8 items. 2 are projects and the rest are defects. So this is the second project, TSMSP 2. This change is basically ensures that wheel-through schedules have the same priority to available transmission capability, ATC, at an intertie as load. Now, this is a prospective change and an activation date of June 1st. And initial comment period expired April 16th. Next step is post recommendation. Any questions on TSMSP 2? Okay, next PR, 1561. This is associated to ASSOC, stands for Ancillary Service State of Charge. Upstream systems are, basically, this enhancement comes from the upstream systems, which indicate when energy schedule of a storage resource and a financial binding interval might be driven by binding ASSOC constraint in any advisory interval due to AS obligation. Now, this one is a retro fix with the start date of July 1st, 2023. Initial comment period expired April 16th. Next step is post recommendations. Any questions on ASSOC, PR 1561? PR 1562. This is associated to WIM pump storage resources. This was uncovered during a dispute where a pump storage hydro resource located in WIM balancing authority area were being incorrectly designated as a generating resource during the interval which a resource were a pump in a pumping mode as loads. This is also a retro fix. The date goes back to deployment date will go back to March 1st of 2023. Initial comment period expired on April 16th. Next step is post recommendation. Any questions on WIM pump storage, PR 1562? PR 1563, this is associated to energy assistant transfer. So this was also identified as a dispute where we received the correction for RSE, which is Resource Sufficiency Evaluation, Correction, and Base ETSR, inclusion in energy, assisted energy transfer surge calculation. This is also a retro, goes back to July 1st of 2023. Initial comment period expired April 16th. Next step is to post recommendation. Any question on PR 1563? PR 1564.
Understandable.
This is associated to a real change to real-time energy pre-calculation. And the idea here is we're trying to show more transparency by showing the nodal congestion calculation prior to summing it up to balancing authority area, BAA congestion amounts in a pre-cal. This is a prospective change with the activation of 6/1/2024. Initial comment period expired April 16th. Next step is to post recommendation. Any questions on PR 1564? PR 1565. Now, this is associated to split acquired rights. So for the same resources, acquired rights and the run-of-river resource adequacy availability incentive mechanism. So we encounter processing delays for this, for both having the acquired rights and the run-of-the-river exemption for overlapping trade dates. And this is also a prospective change, date of June 1st, 2024. Initial comment period expired April 16th. Next step is post recommendation. Any questions on PR 1565? All right, our last PRR is 1566. This is associated to hybrid tight gen resource. This is what also identified via dispute. Uninstructed imbalanced energy UIIE settlement is triggered this change. It was found that hybrid TG resources attribute combination was being incorrectly filtered, leading to incorrect settlement of UIE. This is a retrofix, goes back to July 1st of 2023. Initial comment period expired April 16th. Next step is post recommendations. Any questions on 1566 or any other settlement PRRs that we discussed?
All right, thank you. Matthew, I don't see any raised hands and any questions, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, the next BPM monthly meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 23rd at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at bpm_cm@kaiso.com. And that concludes our meeting for today. Thank you all.